The following is a public access production. It is not produced, sponsored, or endorsed by this station, the local government, or the cable providers. The program producer is solely responsible for the content of this program.
Hello, I'm John McHugh, and thank you for joining me. We cannot sell a house as agents unless we have someone to provide the funds for the buyer. Very few people are buying in cash, and therefore we like to work with good mortgage lenders. Today I want to introduce Vice President of Mortgage Lending with Guaranteed Rate Affinity, Lesley Santini. Lesley, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me, John.
I'm glad to be here. You and I have worked together for a long time, and I know you have a lot of experience, decades in the mortgage industry. How did you get started?
Sure, yeah. So I had just graduated college, so this was 23 years ago, and I was looking for a job. I had finance economics major, and we had a family friend that owned a small mortgage company. And so he said, come over to my mortgage company. I said, okay. So I went over there, did some processing and originating of loans. Back then, there was no training. So I basically trained myself. There was no licensing. So I just figured out how to do mortgages.
And you liked it from the beginning?
I loved it. I loved it from the beginning.
Yeah. And I love what I do too, but it's not possible for real estate agents to take their buyers all the way through to the closing without somebody to give them assistance with the funds. Very few cash offers. We do see them. We're both in the Wellesley office, so we see a good amount of cash buyers, but we need someone to do it. And you've been providing loans to people for a very long time. How do you get them started in the process when someone comes to you? What's your typical buyer? What are their typical beginning questions? Yeah,
sure. Like typically they come to me, they want just questions about the mortgage process. You know, what do the rates look like? That's always a big question. So a lot of my buyers are first-time home buyers, which I love working with them. So I like to educate them and just give them a little overview of what the rates look like, what the programs look like, how much they have to put down, what they need for credit, and what the process looks like. Because they'll start by asking questions, and then they'll say, okay, how much can I afford? So then we'll go into a pre-approval.
Okay, that sounds great. Now I think that you know that actually will begin with us, with the real estate agent, with us saying, well, we don't know how much we can purchase, or we realize that they're always asking to see something in a specific price point, and then when it comes to the offer, we realize that wasn't where they should be. So one of the reasons I like to have my clients consult with you is that you can directly let them know this would be the most comfortable price point for you to buy in based on the financial situation that you're in right now. And that really makes everyone comfortable. You get a lot of that, don't you?
Yeah. They definitely need to know how much they can afford.
And I can't usually tell them that because I'm not privy to all their other financial papers and all of that.
Yeah. Some people think they can afford way more, and some people can't afford way more and don't want to, they afford way less. So
you get rolling with them, you get them their pre-approval, and then they get out there. So they would go through the application process at some point. Tell me about your application process, please.
Sure. So we do now, with the technology, we do a digital mortgage application. So a lot of times I'll get a call or an email. They're looking to get pre-approved. So I like to have a short introductory call with them and just get a little bit of information, meet them, and then I email them my online digital application. So from there they fill, it's like a 10-15 minute mortgage application, asking them basic information, asking about their employment, asking about their assets. We do a soft credit check at the end. And we also verify, we have them upload their financials so we can take a look at the whole picture. And from there, I figure out based on their credit, income, assets, what price point they'll be in.
Perfect.
We figure out how much they're going to put down, and then I email them a pre-approval letter.
That sounds really simple. And as agents, we're always asking people that we're letting them know that it would be great to have a pre-approval before you get out there and start seeing properties, because quite often they can go quickly, and there's nothing worse in my mind that somebody could fall in love with a house and then just not be able to purchase it. So what percentage of people that you work with get the pre-approval before they go out to look, and what percentage of people come to you in a panic, I need it today to write the offer?
Well, I'll tell you, I'd say The majority of the buyers are getting pre-approved ahead of time.
Good,
So
good.
80%, only because the realtors are so good at their job. You guys will send them over to
I know.
me immediately. So, so it's great for me because then I'm not scrambling. I need a pre-approval in an hour,
I know that
but
happens,
there's still
yeah.
plenty of buyers. I'd say I don't know, say 10%, 10% don't have a pre-approval and they want to write up an offer.
Okay, yeah, and it can make it tough. And I always tell people when I recommend somebody, it's honestly making not just your life easier, it's making my life easier because then we can all move forward as one team. Buyers can pick anyone they want to work with in terms of inspectors. When it comes to legal representation, I work with Kurtzman and Weil in Wellesley. When it comes to mortgages and financing, I love to work with Lesley Santini of Guaranteed Rate Affinity. And I think it's great when we all come to the table, all with decades of experience, and can at least offer an opinion to guide buyers and sellers in the right direction. They can work with whomever they want. But I always know that if it's something as tentative and delicate as a newborn baby, which the home buying process can be, and selling, you want to make sure that the next step of the person, the hand you put it in, is going to be responsible. And that's how I look at it when I refer a client to you and to the legal team.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works out well that way. What's your favorite part of your job?
When helping people get the home they want, and after they're just so happy, so appreciative of what you did for them, that's rewarding to me.
And how have you pivoted in the market that we have been in the last year with interest rates high, a little bit of a dip, low, a little bit of a dip, and back and forth, and wondering with the jobs numbers and where the economy is going, how have you dealt with that, with it pivoting so often?
Yeah, I just wish they would just leave the rates alone.
Yeah.
Just give me one rate, that would be perfect.
Right.
So we follow the market, we follow the interest rate, so I try to advise, try to find people the best interest rates out there. But right now, it's building, it's just giving them the mortgage, getting them in their home. So I just try to do that job for them.
Right. What makes it easier or more difficult for people that are interested in getting a mortgage? I know there are all types, VA, FHA, you have different programs that come in, conventional, ARMs. What can make it a little bit difficult for somebody who wants to get a loan and wants to get their dream home, and they want to be reasonable, but what could make it a bit of a challenge for them to accomplish that? Yeah,
it's some people don't know, how to qualify for a mortgage. Someone makes good money, but they're newly self-employed, and it's tough. We can't get someone a mortgage if they haven't filed a tax return yet, So that's why it's important that people out there looking to buy a home come to us early.
Right.
So we can, I feel bad, they do make plenty of money, they have plenty of money, but they can't show it. But the good thing is nowadays, which we have pivoted to, is we have a lot of portfolio products. So, in the past, it'd be difficult because we wouldn't be able to give those people a mortgage. We'd say, all right, now we have to wait 2 years for you to be self-employed. Well, now we can use their bank statements, 12 months of bank statements. We can use a profit and loss statement. So
I love the way that you find these and manipulate the pieces to get into that. Forgive me for stepping on your words. I find it really interesting when somebody will say things that I've heard before, like you need to pay off this car and wait 6 months, or you need to not buy a car or not change a job. Right. What kind of directives, Lesley, would you give somebody that might be popular and interesting for us to hear if they're trying to qualify? Yeah, exactly. Paying off debt to qualify is huge. We do low down payment programs, but some people only just have enough for the down payment. So, getting a gift for more down payment, doing a seller concession, so having a seller pay your closing costs, so stuff like that. We do have people that don't have credit scores or not that great credit score. So I try to coach them how to get the credit score up. The higher your credit score, the better your interest rate is going to be. Right. So, and everyone wants the best interest rate out there. So when they first come to me and I see the credit score, I will help them get that up. Let's pay off some debt. You have the money in the bank. Let's pay off the debt. Let's get that score up to 780. Why we? Can I say I've sat next to Lesley in the office every day, and she makes it seem so easy when she's there on her computer and her head down, and we're chatting about things in between. To see that this is all that goes into the works for her clients, I continue to be impressed with you every day. It's a lot of hard work, isn't it? Yeah. I love working in the real estate office because it's just
I'm well versed at what's going on in that world.
It's nice when we have someone who's a full-time agent instead of someone who pops in now and then to say hello. It's a huge difference in there. I've heard before some type of stories where people get close to the closing table and they're ready to go, and at the last minute something happens. Do you have any fascinating and not boring examples of that?
I would have to say it's probably like what just happened now, right? I haven't had that many personally, but I have people gotten laid off.
Okay.
And that's a big thing. Like right now with the government shutdown, like during COVID, you had people literally ready to close and they lost their job. Government shutdown, employees furloughed. You need to be in work, and we do verify it right before the closing. So that's really one thing that has happened to me. Not that interesting, but.
No, that is interesting. I always like to see, we could all come in here and talk about how wonderful our track record is and how lovely the job is. But when you're actually a human being and you're working with it, some of the people, I think they want to know that people are human and there are ups and downs. And more importantly, that we've been in business and are experienced enough that we've probably hit a number of the roadblocks that people will run into. And therefore, we will have a solution to navigate around them. And that's the difference between experience and not as much experience. I have a little bit of a story that I wanted to ask you about. And it's a really interesting story. I have a $1 million property that I sold in Natick. It's a condominium. And we had the property under agreement, as you know, and fantastic buyers. I represent the seller in Natick. And there was an inspection. They asked for one thing in the inspection. They said, could you remove the mirror from over the fireplace and take that down? We have one that we'd like to put there. So really simple. The inspection went great. Everything was fine. And the process continued. We signed the purchase and sale and moved forward, and we got to a week before the closing. We planned the walkthrough, and the buyers said that they had sent their funds to the attorney on a Wednesday. And then on Friday, the attorney said to the buyer, could you please make sure that you send us the funds? And they said, oh, well, we sent them on Wednesday. And long story short, we found out that the buyer had sent $500,000 to a scammer. And this is not a joke, and this is not just fluff for TV. $500,000 was sent to a scammer, and the FBI deemed it unrecoverable because it happened on a Wednesday, and by the time the attorneys realized on a Friday, it had already been moved so many times that we gave them a couple of weeks to see if it could be recovered, and it was not able to be recovered. So these people's lives were significantly impacted because of a scammer and going into an email and sending that amount of money inappropriately to the wrong place. Have you seen anything like this happen? I know you have protocols in place to protect your clients.
There's a lot of wire fraud out there. The attorneys handle the wires in the funds. They are terrified with the wire fraud. There's just so much of that going on out there.
These are intelligent people
I know.
that have saved $500,000 and gone. I can't even imagine. And of course, it's just terrible.
I've heard, there's a good amount of stories out there. There was one where recently in around this area where someone closed on a property, and what was it? They weren't even the sellers of the property. So they sold They sold the property to buyers. So they got all this money.
And it wasn't even theirs to sell.
And they didn't even own the property. It wasn't even theirs to sell. So there's just so
I don't know
bad
how,
out there, right?
If these people spend that much time doing something reputable, they'd put us all out of business. That you have to. She's referring to a situation where a house was listed for sale. The seller didn't know it was listed for sale, and they went through the whole transaction. Crazy. And then the problem with the people who owned it is they technically no longer owned it, and they didn't even know. That's a great story to bring up. And I like to focus on the positive wins that we have, but there is a part of the business, and it's good to know that we've dealt with all kinds of things so that when you're out there, you'll know that you have somebody experienced that has dealt with these things. And I see you sitting there pounding it out all day, every day in the Wellesley office.
It makes us aware. you know, when this stuff happens.
It's scary. It's
Yeah.
not fun, and we
Yeah.
like to make sure that we take care of people, and that they're happy at the end of the day. So, what type of transactions are your favorite when you get into it? Single family, multifamily? Do you any commercial? What's your favorite, most smooth thing to do?
Definitely a single family.
Okay, tell me.
Because, well, I'll just tell you, you know, a condo, you have to approve a condo building.
Right.
And, you know, there's definitely a lot more paperwork with that. Not all of them are approvable to the Fannie Freddie guidelines, so then they become non-warrantable. So we can do the loan, but we just, you know, it's a little bit more work.
Tell me about what the requirements might be.
Yeah, like, so if we look at, for warrantability in condos, like some things that make it unwarrantable these days, structural issues. That has been a big thing when we had some of those condo complexes in Florida, you know, that collapsed. So now on the condo questionnaire are questions about the structure of
I've just
the
gone
building.
through this
Yeah.
with 2 transactions,
Yeah.
and it was 2 condo transactions, and it's impossible.
Yeah. Structure and master insurance are the 2
And what
biggest
about
issues.
the number of owners? Like if one person owns a lot?
That's usually okay.
Okay.
Yeah, when you're buying something owner occupied, the owner occupancy doesn't matter.
Okay.
On an investment, then we do look for 50% owner occupied. But that's not the biggest one. The biggest ones nowadays are the structural and the master insurance, making sure the condo has master insurance.
I have one where one gentleman owns more than 50% of the whole development.
Yeah. That's another one that comes up nowadays. Like, it used to be 20%. Now we've gone up a little bit higher, 25, 30%, one person, depending on the size of the condo. But that does make it non-warrantable. So we can still do it, but usually a buyer buying into that building, they're going to look at a little bit higher interest rate.
Okay,
you're going
great.
for a non-warrantable
I wanted to see
program.
what the trade-off would be,
Yeah.
and who issues the condo questionnaire to who?
So the bank, so we do, or the lender, we send that, we have a condo department, and they actually reach out to the HOA, so the homeowners association, and they will get the contact, they'll reach right out and send the condo questionnaire.
Do you find that people respond to it?
Yes and no.
Yeah. Just
Some
dealing with
take
the
a while.
day-to-day. Yeah.
Some take a while, some are super quick.
Yeah, that's
You know?
exactly what I've experienced too. So I
Yeah.
guess that the whole thing works as it is. And
Yeah.
that sometimes I know a lot of condo developments don't want to talk to the agent. They only want to deal, the association wants to deal just with the owner. And
Yeah.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
It can be difficult if the owner, who we represent, is counting on us to process the transaction. So
Yeah.
condos can be a little bit of a challenge,
Yeah,
but they come with their
definitely.
own world of benefits, which is nice, especially here in Natick where we have so many of
Yeah,
them. Yeah.
yeah.
So that works out well, but a
Yeah.
single family is your favorite.
Yeah, and a lot of the condos too, like if they're small condos, like townhouses, 2 to 4 units, or a buyer putting a good amount of money down, they're limited project review. So sometimes we just need a master insurance, and we don't even need a condo questionnaire.
You can see why
so they
I go
can be
to Lesley.
easy.
You can see why
it's
we go
really
to
like
her.
the big building, the big condo buildings are the
Right.
ones that are a little harder to deal with.
You are so well versed
Yeah,
in
but
what you do.
single families, I just love because we're just dealing with the single family.
Right.
It's the one seller owns it, and we just get
Fewer loopholes and
Yes,
all that.
exactly.
I've done a lot of condos and the questions seem endless and they seem
Yeah.
a little difficult
Yeah.
to answer. And it's that time where we're going to have a deep dive into the current mortgage situation. Lesley, go.
Okay, current mortgage. Well, rates are actually finally are more favorable for us. We had the government been shut down for 4 weeks, which is the second longest in history. But so we haven't been able to have some of the reports come out. So it's causing a little bit of key economic data releases, and that is caused favorable for the Treasury. So right now, the Treasury's under 4%. Our interest rates, the national average 30-year fix is 6.25%. But most of my rates I'm giving right now in the 5s. So we have seen year over year mortgage refinances right now have ticked up 80%. So we have a little bit of a refi boom right now. So that's good news. Purchases are up 20% year over year. So it's just good. Like finally, the rates have dropped for us. We have more affordability for buyers. And then obviously for people that bought like a year or two ago, or have higher interest rates, or have adjustable rates adjusting, you know, a 5-year, 7-year, 10-year ARM that's coming up for adjustment, or people that just need cash out, rates are favorable for them now. So the activity in the mortgage world is finally picking up for me, which is good. Not that it was, you know, slow, but, you know, we had a couple of years where there was no refis, higher interest rates, and even very limited inventory.
I know that when the mortgage update comes during our weekly meeting, it's when everybody goes quiet, because all of our clients are asking, and you are an invaluable resource for that, and I count on that. And thank you for the mortgage update. That was a really good one, and now we'll look forward to having you provide us with a mortgage update regularly. Now, one thing you don't know probably about Lesley Santini is Lindsay Santini, who is
my twin sister and business partner.
That's perfect. And where is she?
Where is she right now?
Working.
She's in the office working.
Yeah, I knew it, right? Yeah. And which office is she with?
Yeah, so she works, so we work as a team. She primarily goes into the Coldwell Banker, Lexington, and Concord offices.
Okay,
Lexington
good.
merged with Winchester. So
And you and I are in
area.
Wellesley.
We're in Wellesley, in that area, yeah.
And then you have Rugo Santini.
Yes, I do have a brother, 3-year younger brother, who works for a bank. He works for Cambridge Savings Bank. So we have it all covered.
I think that's so phenomenal. And it's certainly not a plug for anybody, but what it is a really wide and variable knowledge of the lending industry completely, that I think any individual may not have as many go-tos as somebody who has these people that they're partnering with, brother and sister. I think it's really a great way to go. It's like working with an office that has a lot of experts in it, so you get more than one idea and one opinion with that.
Lots of stuff to talk about at the family parties.
Yeah, I'm sure, right? Yeah, because we all, you know, you always want, everyone wants to talk about
I have to tell you what happened today.
Yeah, I love it. That's great. So tell me about your typical day when you go into the office. I mean, because I already know about it. Let everyone else know what your typical day is like.
Sure, yeah. My typical day in the office, I usually show up at 8:30. I like to be like there on the earlier side, so I can get things going, get caught up before a lot of people office gets busy. But I work on, first thing I do is any pre-approvals outstanding. So anyone who filled out my online application that need to get pre-approved, or any emails that I have to respond to. Usually I can't sleep until my emails are all answered to the night before. But if there's anything that came overnight, I will email them, respond to everyone, updated pre-approval letters, and then next thing would be to go through my loans in process and make sure we're all in good shape with all my loans in process. You know, looking at timelines, commitment dates, closing dates, just make sure everything's buttoned up there. And then we go on to, marketing and doing some sales meetings and preparing,
It's a really well thought out, busy day that you do all the time, the same thing, and that's why you have it so well covered. And I see it. I see you doing it, and it's nice to be with. We can be working so hard together in the office, but then still have a chat about regular life, so there's a balance between working and how things go. You have a fantastic social media following, and I love your Instagram account. You and your sister have some great videos out there. It's engaging and it's entertaining, and I think that would be a great way for anyone to get to know a little bit about somebody else, is looking at their Instagram account. Can you give everyone your Instagram ID, please?
Yes, we're at Team Santini Mortgage.
At Team Santini Mortgage. And I've reposted some of your videos because I think they're a lot of fun.
We have some filmed and coming. We're just waiting for the perfect time to post them.
Yeah, that's great. You've got a lot of followers out there, and I think it's a great way to get to know somebody behind the scenes instead of just, I think it began with word of mouth and then maybe the yellow pages or ads in the paper and things like that. But now when you can go online and just get a little look at what somebody does, I think it reflects.
My motivation for my social media was your social media account.
Aren't you kind?
With your 200,000 followers. So I don't know if I'll.
You've got a good strong account. You have a good strong account, and I enjoy looking at it. And I think that it's interesting that when we do have time to ourselves and we're still looking at mortgage agents social media. That's what we choose to do. But I highly recommend you. I think you've always been a pleasure to work with. How do you see things moving in the future? From the real estate perspective right now, we're seeing a little bit of a pivot in the market, a kind of a shocking balance between a full-on seller's market to more of a buyer's market.
Yeah.
And now it seems to be up and down in different places with a little bit more inventory coming on the market, and the interest rate's still a little bit in question. Where do you see things?
Yeah, same. Like right now, I mean, it's seasonal right now. I feel like right now it's a buyer's market, you know, for some properties.
Yeah.
Like buyers are just able to negotiate and get whatever they want right now because it's the season. But as we go into the spring market, you know, then it'll get more of an even market. We went from seller's market now right to buyer's market, and I think the spring will be an even market with good amount of inventory, favorable interest rates, so we'll have a lot of buyers out there and more sellers, more inventory as we've seen coming up lately. So I think it's going to be a regular, you know, coming back to what our regular market used to be.
Yeah, and I agree with you. That's a good forecast. What do you think about what I consider a traditional slowdown between Thanksgiving and New Year's Day? That's when I kind of see a bit of a slowdown, even though if the price is right, it's always a good time to put the property on the market. And I will have a 4th of July and Christmas Day open house if necessary. So do you see a little bit of a slowdown during the holidays or not?
Well, not that, it's not, we see a really big slowdown in like January, February, like after the holidays. That's probably when you're
I'm
getting
prepping to get ready.
For the spring market. That's my slowdown. We're actually kind of busy right now closing loans. Like people want to get their stuff, right now it's busy getting stuff under agreement. Buyers that are out there know like this is the time I can get this property. And they want to close before the end of the year. So we're actually pretty busy this time of year. It slows, like new origination slows, you know, obviously December, January, February. So that's just the prep time. Like you're prepping, I'm prepping.
Yeah, I'm prepping.
Yeah.
People say, they say what's the most popular time to sell a house? And quite often, this is my opinion, you'll hear in the news, August, home sales are higher than ever. It's because people reached out to us in, you know, February, March. They got the photos done, the prep done, got everything on the market, March, April. Had the buyers come in and we got it sold and under agreement, and then the closing probably happens closer to August. So those sales figures are reflected in that month. But the process started a long time back. I've been pretty much consistent through the year with productivity and business. But yeah, I can see that you're a little bit busier than when I'm,
But agreed though, like people will start calling me after the new year. Can I get pre-approved? We're back in the market. You know, we took the time off. We're back in the market. So it does get busy there.
Do you have any kind of a guarantee, like if you take the time and effort and you do the research and all that work to give them the pre-approval, do you have any type of form or guarantee that those people will lock in to actually work with you to the closing?
No, I wish. I really do.
That's interesting, yeah, because I see the time and effort you put into pre-approving people.
Most of them do. You know, there's some that you lose. You know, but a good amount of people, like if I do a good job with my service, I have a good interest rate for them, they're happy. I'd say most of my clients do stick with me, which is good.
And we live by referral. And the only reason I mention that is because it's a total reflection of the hard work that I see you put in. And you deserve to be rewarded for all that work you put in. I always like to recommend good people and people that I trust to work with in a business capacity. I suggest that you check out the Instagram account of Lindsay Santini and Lesley Santini, Vice Presidents of Mortgage Lending at Guaranteed Rate Affinity. And I want to thank you so much for joining me today. It was such a pleasure, and I know we've all learned something from you. Thanks, Lesley.
And thank you, John.
Of course. And we'll see you next time. Thanks very much. Take care.